Hello, everyone, and welcome to Whale FM Makersplace Edition. In this show, we talk about everything and anything art and crypto in the NFT scene with designers and creators alike, otherwise known as non-fungible tokens. My guests today are here to discuss Peyote Ugly, where the Aztek gods have awakened, looking to unleash their wrath on four artists racing to escape the jungle with stolen ancient artifacts. Inspired by Mexican mythology and folklore, these mixed media powerhouses have come together to harness culture and tech, creating a narrative experience unlike any other. Team, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Really,
thanks so much. Super nice.
really, I'm gonna make sure Daniel can hop on as well. Thank you, Daniel.
All right.
Not sure where in the world Daniel is checking in from, but he's being a trooper, and we are juggling lots of tech here to make this happen with this group that really traverses the globe, which is a fascinating aspect of you guys really coming together and amalgamating. But before we hop into the project, we'd love to just get a brief introduction from each of you and tell us a bit about yourselves and your background as artists.
I will start. So my name is Violet P. Jones, and I've been an artist for quite some time, painter, sculptor. Before, my background was in film, and I combined my knowledge of film, painting, sculpture to join these mad people that I love to bits and basically create this project. And I hope everybody that gets on board is going to love it as much as we did and do.
I guess we just move down the line. My name is Henrik Urdalen. I'm a Norwegian fine art painter working in the industry for 15 years now. And just last year, I dived into NFTs and digital works and fell in love and have not slept for a year, essentially. There's so many ideas coming every day with so many opportunities. It's been fabulous.
Right, and the non-sleep thing, I'm sure we all can relate to in this space, right? But you more than others with the amazing things you've been doing.
Thank you.
My name is Daniel Martin. I'm an artist from the Netherlands. I've been working as a traditional artist for the past decade. And previous to that, I have been working in the digital arts. So I did both fields, and now I'm happily merging them in the NFT space.
Very cool. Thank you.
My name is Hugo Newport, also from the Netherlands. I am a illustrator and animator, and I am the guest animator for this project. I'm very excited to be here.
Thank you so much for joining us. Certainly, when we get into it, the animation is a key core component. So amazing work. Can't wait to show everybody.
Thank you.
And well, my name is Santiago Pani. I'm a Mexican artist. I'm the director of the residency projects in Holland and in Mexico. And I've been a traditional artist for the past 10 years. And now, super excited to do these cool new projects with the NFT in the NFT world. Thank you for having us.
Very cool. Thank you, everyone. And as far as NFT exposure goes, I know, there's varying degrees of when people got in or how much they've participated. Has everyone really been a big part of the NFT space for some time, say over the past year or so, or is anyone kind of this their first foray into formally putting something out of this nature?
For me, I think I got my account with Super Rare at the end of 2019, and I minted my very first NFT early January 2020. So for me, it's been quite a long journey and a lot of experimenting and going through the growth of this whole space. So I'm loving where it's going, and I'm loving the fact that so many fine artists are joining and exploring and kind of changing the face of art today. So I love it.
Yeah, I think Daniel, Santi, and I jumped in at the same time. We just came off a trip from Mexico a year ago, and none of that was happening really. and then everything exploded at the same time. So we jumped on it immediately after and just kind of had the ball rolling. Violet definitely being the veteran out of us.
Yeah, that being said, it's kind of crazy to think that in this space you could talk about a year ago, and it seems like quite some time, right? It's a different time scale in the NFT space. So thank you for giving us a little bit of context there. And I would agree with all the experimentation. Certainly, this project has a lot of it. Base us on what this project is and what it represents.
Well, what the project is.
Yeah, so give me, so before I dig into the specifics, right, I do want to show some visuals. I just want to level set everyone on what the vision for the project is and what the idea and concept behind it was, and then get into some of the nuance.
So basically, the vision for this project is to deliver something that's never been done before. It's almost like the whole immersive experience, because art can, you usually go to the gallery and just look at the art. We wanted to basically cover all the senses and move them at the same time. So you listen, you look, you interact, you have the story, you follow. And this is just the chapter one of many, but we wanted to combine everything that there is that you can make art with, digitally and physically, and just put people inside of the whole experience. So that was the vision behind it.
I think what Violet is mentioning here is kind of the key component, the fact that we want to merge the two worlds. And of course, we come from traditional backgrounds, and we've fallen in love with this new medium. But that doesn't mean, let's shed everything that we know from before and just do this. We have strengths from our previous years of doing all the stuff that we've done. Why not bring it into the new world?
Yeah, and so to base everybody, my understanding is that you guys were actually at a residency, right, in Mexico,
yes.
and that was the impetus for this. Talk to me a little bit about that and how exactly that led to this project coming about.
Santi is best to describe all of that because
Cool.
he made it happen for us.
Yeah, well, I started a residency in Holland a few years ago, like 6 years ago to be precise. And 2 years ago, we opened a residency in Mexico. These two residencies have become the platforms, like the physical platforms, where us, Art House, as an artist collective, we create a lot of projects that bridge artists from different parts of the world. And so for this precise project, we were in Mexico at the residency for a month, working and living 24/7 at the same place. So the result of Peyote Ugly is something that happened from creating and sharing knowledge and interacting and being at the same place together as creatives brings you so many possibilities and allows you to expand your horizons so much. So yeah, that was pretty much like how it all started, and yeah, it was in the residency.
Yeah, and of course, when you share space with other fabulous artists like everyone else here, you wake up every morning and everyone has all their different strengths, and one day you want to paint, but then you see someone else doing VR stuff with Oculus, or
Right.
It's 3D scanning things or printing, and then suddenly you just feel like, I want to do all of it. I want to try this, I want to try that, and just get inspired by everyone and all the different opportunities that we bring. And that's the real value of working in close proximity to each other.
Yeah, it's what you see a lot in the traditional art world is that professional artists work in their own studio. They are by themselves. You don't get to see a lot of people. And in NFT space, it's happening the same, basically. Or at least people talk a lot among each other, but it's not common that you see each other face to face. And what the other said, it's so important to be at the same spot at the same time, be able to discuss in real life, talk about the things, experiment. So that's what we found to be very, very valuable.
It's like, imagine all-you-can-eat buffet with creativity, you know, and you just
Right.
go and refill your plate all the time, different disciplines of art. It's phenomenal, very inspiring.
Yeah, you learn a ton of things because obviously, you know, all of these guys have so many different things that they do. You know, Daniel with his VR stuff, Santi with crazy expressionist painting and printmaking, Violet with, you know, film background, but also painter. It's been crazy. We've done so many different things for this project, and we're really excited to be able to, you know, provide such a well-rounded drop with a lot of different offerings.
And also, all of us got out of our kind of safe zone and like comfort zone, and we tried and we pushed each other and supported. And oh my God, I would never trade that experience for anything. It's absolutely brilliant. I recommend for every artist to do at least one of those residencies, you know, in their lifetime. Well, that's me crazy running in the jungle.
Yeah, so it's super cool. Now, was there a lot of artists at this residency? How did you guys form your core group, or were you kind of the primary artists that were there at the time?
Yeah, that was we were primary artists at the time at residency, and I don't know, I don't want to speak for everyone, but I think we clicked really well, and we have very similar sense of humor, and we like to kind of prank each other, and we became very good friends. So it was like a perfect match, I swear to God.
Yeah, like the residencies work usually with artists applying, and they usually come and either here or to Mexico, and they spend a period of 1 month to 3 months, and they experiment together and interact between each other. But as I was telling you before, like we as Art House, as a group, we are using also the possibilities of the residencies to do this kind of exciting projects. So we make these kind of like special residency months where we invite artists like with the potential and the position in their career as well, Violet, Henrik, and well, like artists which are doing extremely amazing stuff. And then we create these new cool projects like the one that you're seeing right now.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much nuance that I'd love to touch on, but I think people are chomping at the bit to kind of understand what we're about to look at. And I got to be honest with you, I do this a lot, and I got really excited looking at your project. There's so many cool components of it. I'm going to do my best to try to encapsulate it in brief, and then you guys can expand upon it. But essentially, you were inspired perhaps by your surrounding, by the culture, by where you were in Mexico, and really leaned into that for this project, which is, in my view, an amalgamation of different mixed media, of you guys taking your specialties and going outside of the box a little bit, pulling it together to make some very unique NFTs that not only are cool in what they draw from for inspiration, which is Mexican folklore, mythology, Aztec culture, the culture around you and the environment and everything else you could have been experiencing, but also layering upon that so that it becomes a cohesive narrative. There's a story of what's happening. The NFTs are components of that. They're representative of these gods that are angry because the artifacts have been stolen from them. And I'm sure you could do it more justice than me, the actual story. But that's why I'm seeing someone run through the jungle. That's why these representations of the gods are there. And that's why they have incredible music layering and animation as well that was done, you know, by your team, and some cool aspects even on top of that as well. So super unique and super, I think, ambitious to try to pull all of that together, let alone from people from across the globe, right? Because at some point you went separate ways, but you had this bonding experience that you really called back upon to really build on it. And I got to tell you, in looking at it, it looks very cohesive and super, super cool.
Violet, do you want to talk us through the narrative?
Yeah, sure. So basically, we did the major core planning and artwork when we were in Mexico, and then after we went our separate ways, we basically communicated 24/7. We had special channels on WhatsApp, and as I mentioned yesterday in Twitter Spaces, that I spoke to these boys more over the last 2 months after the residency than to my own husband. So we really grew close. But everybody had their strengths, so we kind of played to that. So everybody was responsible for certain things that they had the biggest skills in, and we supported each other and kind of double checked. And so the idea was we went to this Mexican jungle, the Lacandon, and it was after Santiago's birthday party that we kind of tried a little bit of peyote, and we woke up in the jungle. We saw amazing emerging artifacts. We decided to steal them, and then when we went back for our stuff, the gods were awakened, and we started feeling all the curse and all the bad things happening, the ground shaking, and we are on the run. There was a part that you showed before, scrolled through it, the map that we found in one of the, attached with one of the totems. The map has a lot of places that everybody in NFTs sooner or later will visit or have visited. So if you look at the places, and there is the whole journey that you need to go through, and the hints for offerings and appeasing the gods. So we've got 2 totems that are at the moment in the Museum of Anthropology, and we have 4 very angry gods. So this is the wholesome project, and the next chapter is basically well, we're not going to tell you what the next chapter is, but there's going to be the next chapter for sure.
This
That's
map,
like long story short.
yeah, this map kind of represents the roadmap and what we will do in the near future. We've called it a treasure map because why not? And
It's much better than roadmap.
and it might give you some hints to where things are going in the future as well.
Very cool. I could spend maybe another 20 minutes just asking you about some of these names, but I did have a question for you, and you don't have to answer it unless you're comfortable. Is the peyote part of the narrative, or was that actually part of your experience in creating while you were there?
No, we I wish. No, we had napales. These are edible cacti that might give you indigestion, but no hallucination.
Probably more fueled by mezcal.
So we did not take actually hallucinogenic drugs.
And no judgment if you do or don't. I know some amazing artists in the space that do, and there's even talk of some of the most genius people throughout history, whether it was Dali or Einstein, like to get in kind of a lucid state when they would create and do some of their finest work. So very cool either way. What cultural experiences really were impactful while you were on this journey that made you say, this is it, this is what we're going to be creating, this is kind of the theme of what we're going to do?
We experienced 2 really cool things. One was Santi took us to actual pyramids just outside Mexico City, and I swear to God, I was so inspired, and all of us, we just loved it. It was very hot, uncomfortable hot, but it was absolutely wonderful. And the second part was first time in Tequisquiapan, there was a festival of alebrijes. So the magical creatures that are part of one of the totems, actually both totems. And it was absolutely phenomenal to participate in that. And also we had wonderful Paco and Pato who were filming us, the film crew. And we had a lot of conversations with them, and they know a lot about the history and cultural kind of heritage. And Santi, of course, who told us wonderful stories. And it was like being there, experiencing all the stories and colors and the fashion and all the museums and everything around. It was so inspiring. It was difficult not to soak it all in. So we did.
everything is just so vibrant. All the colors and the flavor of the food, the smells. It's a really fascinating place, and yeah, it really helps also having all these locals like Santi and his dad talking about the different things. And we look at a bird and it's really bright and colorful, and he would have the story behind it because he's read a billion books about all these mythological creatures and fauna and so on. So it's been a really fascinating trip, and can't wait to go back.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'd never been to this particular area of Mexico, but having visited myself to Chichen Itza and swam in a cenote and some some Mayan ruins or whatever, right? I can definitely understand the awe-inspiring effect it can have on you being there, and so you being able to channel that into something creative is absolutely incredible. How about from a media or art perspective, what was part of the influence for this? Because you have a real sense of adventure, of creativity, of really leaning into the tech and differentiating the things that your project can do. Is there anything that was top of mind or possibly an influence there? Because for example, when I looked at this, it pulled on so many heartstrings of mine, both culturally, both the execution of the art. But then I started thinking of some other things like, man, this is like when I played Temple Run on my phone, or this reminds me of Mysterious Cities of Gold when I was a kid. Like, it gave a real sense of adventure that was really cool. So I was just wondering if anything, and perhaps it was subconscious, but anything else was part of your thought process there.
Danny, you want to take this?
Like from a more technological perspective, right? For example, a thing like what we also incorporated into the project was 3D scanning, and we took great liberty into like finding objects that were laying around in the vicinity, looking for interesting shapes and textures that we could photograph and scan, that we could then use in our sculptures and animations and stuff. So that's like a simple example of that what we couldn't have done here back home in the Netherlands, right? It's like totally different materials and things you can find over there. So I don't know if you have any.
Well, I think mostly it's, and especially on the inspirational thing, every step we took, it was kind of planned, but every step takes you into new ideas. And for instance, when we went to make promos, the videos in the jungle, it was pretty unplanned, but when you're there and everything is so inspiring, and so that's what also makes the project quite big, is that every time you get a new idea, and it just keeps evolving, and just makes it really exciting.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting stuff just around the corner. Like as a foreigner, when you get to a new place, you look at it with new eyes, and you get inspired by something very simple, what like to natives is like a daily thing, right? So that's totally true.
It's almost like a childlike new impression. You see all these incredible things all around you, and you just want to, how can I put this into my art? How can I merge this with somehow with the projects that I'm working on? And then suddenly all this tech shows up and makes it completely possible. 3D scanning. It's been a lot of fun in that way.
Yeah, and it's very funny. Like when, for example, that bucket of clay that had been laying in the studio for maybe 5 years, I never paid attention to it, and then suddenly for them it becomes so interesting to create something, and then these amazing sculptures start happening, right? So I think it's very interesting when you go to a new place. As a foreigner, you start being attracted to these kind of things that locals don't. And me as a local there, I was starting to see things from also their eyes and their perspective. And I also found them super interesting myself. So it's quite interesting how this both back and forth goes.
Right. Yeah, and I think to really do this justice, I'd love to show the pieces that are involved in the drop now and let the community see them. And maybe as we go through them, you guys can talk a little bit to the inspiration or the creation of and show some of the different cool components. Now I'll let everyone know there's also some very cool anim. I'll let you guys talk to the different components within each, but it's that very experiential, at least from the NFT perspective, as well as what else is involved here, right? So there's animation, there's music, there's a lot to it, guys. So I'd encourage you to look at the links as well that we shared in the Twitter post, and we'll put those in the stream text once again so you can experiment and check them out yourselves. But we'll walk through some of the pieces now. I'd like to start with the totems, which are addition pieces.
So the first totem, that's a very interesting thing. When you look at it, oh, there is an animation, but every single component, every single thing you see was made in as physical first. So all these sculptures you could see in the making of video, that they were all sculpted by every single one of us. So because totem is like representation of the tribe, that was the function of the totem and documenting where the tribe was at particular time. So we decided to document our styles, our presence, and where we are as artists. So the patterns that you see on the moving kind of discs, they were painted in acrylic and oil. And then we scanned those, and Daniel and Ivo did their magic and put them together in a beautiful animation. But nothing of it was sculpted in 3D. Everything was sculpted and painted physically and then kind of transformed into digital form.
A quick shout out to Noisy in the chat for non-fungible totems.
That's
right,
yeah. Awesome.
I mean, this is incredible. It looks seamless. I'd have to really think about it and have a 50-50 shot on whether this was sculpted in 3D or not. So the totems are additions, correct?
Yes, and there are 20 of each totem.
Okay.
And there are surprises for those who decide to get 2 of them and hold them for 10 days in their wallet. There is a bonus NFT that is pretty sick, pretty good. So this one is paintings. So basically it's representational of alebrijes. So the cultural, it's from folk culture kind of art, and they are magical creatures and they bring you luck. So it's pretty good to get them. We all need luck.
People in the chat asking if I could raise the volume so they could hear the totem better. Listen, guys, you can check it out yourself as well, but we want to make sure we hear the incredible artists as they talk about their pieces. I would recommend you go and blast it full volume. We'll drop the link in there that you can do that as well. But I definitely want to hear the context from everybody here on the different pieces. So 2 totems that are editions of 20, and then we have the 1 of 1 pieces as well.
Absolutely. Every single 1 of 1 piece represents a god. It's our representation of those gods. They are, once again, they were started with paintings. Then they were animated, and Ivo is a huge part of an animation here. And every single NFT comes with the painting. And one thing, if somebody does not want a physical, they can gift it to somebody, because we'll just send it wherever you tell us to send it. But if there is a little bit of a bidding war and it goes over 3 ETH, the winner of this NFT will receive an oil painting, an NFT, and the bonus NFT. That's also pretty smooth and pretty sweet.
Also, with this painting, if you have an app, you can watch the animation as AR.
Yeah, Artivive is the app. Yeah, that's very good. Yeah,
That's incredible.
that's my dirty studio. Sorry, I didn't clean. I should have cleaned.
So walk me through this particular piece and this god and the process in creating it.
So basically, I was inspired by, because a lot of elements in this particular painting are kind of inspired by the story of the god. I don't want to butcher the name; they are very difficult. I think is Santi, help me. Is a like, I'm sorry,
I
I've
cannot
tried.
even pronounce it myself, so it's okay.
Yeah, because it's like pre-Hispanic kind of name, so they are quite difficult to pronounce. But this particular god is a god of smoking mirrors and creativity, among a lot of things. So the symbols in the corners turning are made from the smoking mirrors stone that is very typical for Mexico. And the elements in the painting are the artifacts, and the paint on the face is the paint that this god had in all the kind of cartoons and drawings, and the mask that was found, and it's in Mexican Museum of Anthropology. You can find these elements. So I incorporated them here, and the eyes moving and the head on fire. It's like I just woke up, somebody stole something of mine, I'm pretty pissed off what's happening. So that was kind of reasoning behind those elements in the painting and NFT.
I love the synergistic elements that are almost dichotomy in some ways, right? Like, I know you talk on some of the media about bringing a tactile feel to the digital and kind of marrying up, having the different mediums kind of mesh together in a way that's cohesive. So even just thematically, we have new and old and so much going on that makes this intricate and really a representation of where we are with creativity in today's day and age. So super, super dope stuff. I got to look at that AR photo again. That's so fire. And so all of the one of ones have these AR components as well,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Very cool. So here we have the next angry god chasing after you guys through the jungle.
This one is mine. It's practiced. Bear with me. Michelantekuchli. It's very difficult to pronounce. And so this one represents the god of death, who ruled over Mictlan, which is the land of the dead. So much like Hades in the Greek underworld, where most people would spend their afterlife, regardless of their moral standing. And of course, if anyone has seen my work before, it's quite dark, it's quite melancholic. So this one spoke to me the most, and yeah, and in the mythology, he has a chain of eyeballs, and he is known to eat human flesh, and all these crazy stories. So in the
Very
anime,
cheery.
I like that.
Very cheery.
I like that the blood isn't a consistent flow. It just at one point just pours out of his mouth. And also, I can't discern whether I'm looking at sweat coming down his brow or a tear.
it's probably just a speck of dust flying through it.
Well, see, that's the beauty of art, right? Up to my interpretation, it made it even more dramatic than it is. Maybe I have a soft spot in my heart for the gods of the underworld. So thank you so much for sharing some context on this piece.
You're welcome. This is Santiago's.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is mine. This is Quetzalcoatl. I can try to name your gods, so maybe people can know how are they pronounced. But yeah, it's quite hard, so you will understand why it's not an easy thing to do. Like Violet's one is called Tezcatlipoca. Henrik's is Mictlantecutli.
Oh.
Mine is Quetzalcoatl. I think I chose the easiest one. And Daniel's is Huitzilopochtli.
What?
It's not very easy to pronounce, but
yeah, I will leave that to you.
Good
But
job,
tell me,
Robert.
tell me a little bit about this piece. I really like the juxtaposition of the wall art, the vibrant colors, and what it represents as far as, you know, a god. This is almost akin to looking at street art to me. So it's almost something modern with flair that way, but also calling upon something, you know, obviously with ancient and mythical roots.
Yeah, like the Quetzalcoatl is a serpent feathered god, and is a wind god, and it usually represented by this snake with feathers. I decided to incorporate also this, like the Mexican skull and all the colors that are usually very vibrant in my work. And when I first moved to Europe, I told people I was Mexican. People would say that it makes sense, because then my colorful work would kind of show that I was Mexican. For me, it was just normal, you know, like, because I always tend to do colorful stuff. But for sure, I try to implement like this kind of very expressive and allowing a lot of mistakes to happen with the spray paint, like you know, like it's dripping and all these interesting things that happen without putting too many rules into the game of creation. And then I decided to mix it with this very simple animation, which is almost like a stop motion, right? That is just gives you like a little bit of extra street kind of vibe, as you were saying, as you could find this in as street art or something like that. That's a little bit like the background of the creative statement of the work.
Very cool. Question for you: is that something that's common to see, kind of a street art graffiti representation of cultural iconic figures in Mexico? Because I've seen something like that a couple of times throughout, you know, me kind of perusing art, and I never really understood if that was a cultural nuance or not.
I think it's like I don't know, like, but for example, for me, when I left Mexico, I started finding Mexico more interesting than before I left, you know. So I think that a lot of Mexican artists and a lot of urban artists that are doing amazing stuff internationally, they want to sort of show off their Mexicanity, I guess, if you could say that. So you can see a lot of very, very cool artists doing like traditional mythological and pre-Hispanic cultural aspects of Mexico.
And on top of that, there's a lot of you know, really strong ties to kind of muralism in your work, and Mexico has a lot of history with muralism.
Yeah.
Very cool. Thank you so much. I'm learning a lot today from this conversation, so really appreciate it. And of course, the most difficult to pronounce, so I won't attempt it, but here is one of the coolest pieces for sure. So Daniel, this is your piece?
It is. Bucciolati photo, right? Did I get it, Santi? It's the supreme god of the Aztecs. Obviously, I was the first one to pick a god. It is also the god of war. So I went for a kind of like threatening look. His spirit animal is the eagle, so it, like this featherish type of thing surrounding him. What I did was paint the painting, then upload it into VR, the Oculus, and then started painting in VR. That's all the stripes and lines you see on top of the painting. So those stripes and lines are 3D models when you paint them in VR. And you can then export them into other 3D software and put them back on the painting, and then animated the stripes. And with the lighting from the top, you see this sort of shadows going back and forth over his face, making it even more threatening. So it was a real cool mixture of different technologies in order to come to the end result.
And it's AR as well, the painting. Augment.
It's mesmerizing. I think I'm seeing what are hair strands going in and out of the body structure, but at some point to me, I looked at it and thought it was like worms weaving in and out of his body. So pretty cool.
Peyote.
Yeah, I think I had some before this interview. It seems I have had two of my own interpretations that were far off, but I think they're cool and would add to it. And that's what I would tell people when it's hanging up in my house in VR or on a mural when they're looking at it.
I was gonna say, you're gonna have to look at it in real life. That's the
Right. So super cool. Thank you for more context on that as well.
We've received a lot of help with animations and getting things to move from Evo. So
Absolutely.
thanks to him.
Evo, especially you were dealing with some physical pieces and really making it manifest in this digital realm and look almost seamless. It's really an incredible job. So kudos to you for helping pull this all together and really traverse and bridge the two mediums together and the two worlds. So guys, this is going live this evening, right? So 6:30 Eastern time on Makerspace, I believe. This is going to go live. So we're nearly on the precipice of this. And likewise, the additions, there's some different things that can happen for holders. You've obviously put a lot of thought into the narrative and what's going on in here. I have to ask, is there an extension of this that will happen beyond? I know you talk about people being involved with VR and the metaverse. I can't help but think something like this would lend itself very well to something in that vein.
Well, we do have in Decentraland, we've got at the moment a gentleman called Valiant on Twitter built us a nice pyramid where you can see our pieces inside, and you need to parkour yourself to the top to get a POAP. There are only 500 of them. So get to Decentraland before or after the drop and get your POAP. And we are thinking about extending it to another metaverse as well. So Peyote Ugly is not the end of that. You'll keep hearing about it quite a lot over the next coming months. There will be some cool stuff happening. So just let us rest after the drop, and we'll regroup and provide some more experiences. And also we've got a lot of physicals, as I said, these that you can see at the moment, they were offerings to kind audience that helped us promote this drop for people won them yesterday. Then we've got prints for the totem holders. There will be out of 40, 10 will be awarded just randomly augmented reality G-clay prints and mono prints. So yeah, there is a lot happening. So it's really worth getting on board and joining the Peyote Ugly tribe.
So if you're in Decentraland, you can type in the coordinates -125.94, and that should take you to the pyramid.
And also on an invitation, there's like an on events page. You've got also the button that you can click and you're transported there straight away. It's Vegas City. Thank you very much to Vegas City for lending us the land. And thank you very much to Valiant, who put a lot of work to build us this gallery. You can see here Santi making the monoprints. Like, I love this video. It's so soothing, and like I could watch it. It's beautiful. So he makes the monoprints that will be awarded to some of the edition holders.
Yeah. Man, everywhere I turn, there's something super cool and a new component that you guys have added to this. It's not often, I have to say. I can't really wrap my head around all the different layers and ways to participate and really have really cool stuff to experience the art. So kudos to you guys for putting that together. And I just want to reiterate to the community listening in, that was straight alpha dropped right there on the Decentraland coordinates. You have to parkour to the top of the pyramid and grab your POAP. So be sure to go after that if that's something that you're you're interested, it sounds like with the integrations you guys do, there may be a reason that people should score that POAP, right? So I encourage everybody to test their parkour skills and get after it.
It's not easy. It's not easy. I can tell you that trees come in handy. That's all I can tell you.
Very cool. Well, I do have some additional questions I'd love to run by you guys while we have some time. This drop in many ways really marries the rich cultural heritage of Mexico with like emerging tech and what we have going on in society now. How would you characterize NFTs as a cultural movement were it to be viewed retrospectively? Like right now we're thinking of the Aztec culture, right? What will they look back at NFTs and say about it? What's your vision for what it represents to culture?
I think it's NFTs are kind of providing us with platform to share that culture, individual culture, to integrate that into art, to marry all of the disciplines, to create the collaborations that wouldn't normally happen pre-NFT kind of existence. It was kind of hard to do that. So it's like it's a very new, exciting world that we all want to kind of enter and embark on a journey. And I find it extremely fascinating. I don't know what's going to happen in the future, but what we are creating, it's very new. And I think we should just keep going, and it will lead to something even bigger that we are not thinking about it now. Because imagine, like a year ago, I remember when I started, we didn't even have MP4s. You had to do any form of animation in a GIF, so you couldn't use sound. So now the music is coming into NFTs. Imagine culturally merging the art, visuals, traditional, digital, and then with music. It's a very fascinating time to be an artist. And yeah, I encourage every artist to jump on that journey.
Yeah, I think that's the main takeaway from it all for me as well. You know, you have so many different opportunities now, and there's no limits to what you can create and mint on the blockchain. And it's been just been such a steep learning curve. I've learned more this year than I've probably done for the last 15 years painting. And on top of that, you get community, you get all the things that are the big problems with the traditional art world is taken away. You know, providence. You have community with collectors. You have less gatekeeping, all the good things, and yeah, community as well, of course. Yeah. Daniel, what does it mean for you?
Like what your question was from like the culture perspective, like how it will be looked back to, and like what pops to mind is like the traditional art world always used to like run in cycles, that like after a couple of decades there was this huge new movement coming up. And I heard this from an old gallerist in Mexico by chance, but who told us that. And he said, like, guys, be wary, like in about 2 years the next cycle is about to begin. And the guy was right, and that was NFTs, 100% sure. And not only is it a new cycle or a new way of conducting or showing art, it like the other said, it will provide so much possibilities extra because of the mixture, because of the things we are showing you here in our drop. It's just the beginning, like literally. It's as technology progresses, arts will progress. There will be like more connectivity between all those things, and I think it will be like a hyper acceleration into way cooler stuff than you can even imagine. So it means a lot. Yeah.
I think it's very, very interesting what is happening. At least I can speak from my personal experience, and this kind of collaboration, like usually in my work and in my personal creative process, I try to do as many collaborations as I can. I find this as the best way to learn and understand new ways and new possibilities. But like at least this collaboration that we just had to create Peyote Ugly, it has made me understand and learn so many things. Like as what Henrik has was saying, like I've been learning more than I learned in the past 10 years, like just in this short process since we jumped into the NFT world, which for us is no longer than 1 year ago, or just a little bit longer, but it's very, very recent, right? The community is so young and it's still so fresh that you are still able to reach out and have like proper conversations with incredible artists and incredible creatives which are out there also trying to find their own space in the NFT world. So it's like very, very exciting and very fresh, and I'm sure this is gonna be like a before and after NFT in the art history.
Thanks, guys. I really appreciated the description that we have a lot of PFP projects, apes, cats, whatever, and your project is a refreshing return to the physical and the tactile. Talk to me a little bit about that and your feelings regarding bridging what would be a purely digital aesthetic with what you're doing in the physical realm.
I think this could be like kind of a template showing the artists that one can coexist with another. We do not have to get rid of anything in the physical world. We can still create. We can still use our better skills. We don't have to learn entirely new language, because like getting into digital for some traditional artists might be a little bit scary, because oh my god, I need to learn this entirely new language. Why not you speak your language and you do a collaboration with somebody who speaks this digital language, and you create something absolutely phenomenal together. So I think it might be a little bit encouraging for traditional artists to embark on this journey and not be super scared, because it's not scary, it's liberating, and it's so much fun.
Yeah, and I think that's the big takeaway there. I have a lot of colleagues coming from traditional oil painting background, and they say, oh no, I can't step into the NFT world. I don't know how to animate something. And it's like, no, you don't have to. There's a million ways for you to show your work, and there's space enough for everyone. So we just want more people coming into this space, because inevitably it will all be crypto. It will be everywhere in life. Your mortgage application will be an NFT. Your deed will be an NFT. It's going to be NFT everything. And the faster you can get into the creation part of it, the better.
Yeah, I would agree. The time is coming where NFTs will be ubiquitous and it'll be seamless to people that are involved with it, right? They won't realize that it's an NFT. It'll just be part of every day and part of the ecosystem that no one, I don't even think we'll call them NFTs at the time, right? Yeah. It'll just be something synonymous with process. And so the apprehension of artists to get involved sometimes is I think, a matter of time until there's really a better understanding on the nuance of it and the benefits of it, and counteracting some of the reservation, really, because there's some misinformation out there. But you guys' perspective is refreshing. We have some people that are watching right now that I know from our community that were incredible physical artists that are trying to find their way into the NFT space. And they're saying, how can I take this success that I've had in the traditional art realm, in the fine art realm, and in galleries and such, and translate it to the NFT space? What would you say to people that are looking to make that transition and try to get some traction with NFTs?
Well, you have to kind of start from the beginning a little bit. I would not jump straight away into minting something. Get familiar with the space, get to know your community, get to know the collectors, because you wouldn't sell traditional art to just any collector. So you need to kind of research your audience, get familiar with other artists, what's being done, how am I different, or how do I fit in particular groups. So basically do your research, participate in conversations, join discords, listen to other people, follow kind of artists that did it right. And just take your time, because the space is not going anywhere. So rushing into something and doing it wrong sometimes could be detrimental in the future. So it's better to take your time and slowly enter. And the community is so supportive. So yeah, so I think that everybody can do it. It's just take your time, do your research.
100%.
Thank you for that. I know we're up against the hour, so I have a couple of DM'd questions from the community I'd love to run by you as well. This is more of a comment, I guess, and suggestion than a question, but someone said, this is super cool. Imagine if they did Egypt or Atlantis or another culture next. So just throwing that out there. I thought that was a cool comment for me to share. Another question is, how do you guys feel the process of having shared an in-person experience and then doing a collaboration differ from a purely virtual one?
I think first of all, when you just have, Zoom or Skype meetings all the time, it's difficult to really get engaged with it and really just be excited about something. You can be excited for a couple of days and then it kind of just becomes a meeting. So I think, waking up, having breakfast, drinking a beer, discussing over food, it's a really beautiful thing. And if you are able to meet up with people in real life, it's a beautiful addition to the process.
Nothing beats in real life experience. Nothing.
And
art is about it's about making mistakes, right? And knowing which mistakes to keep. Seeing things go wrong and getting new ideas from that, and knowing when to stop or go through. And that's those things you don't have in online interaction, where you get new types of mistakes, but those are the best in real life.
Yeah, I honestly think that this project, the end results would have been a lot different if we hadn't spent this much time in real life together. For sure, absolutely. Yeah.
Definitely. We've actually been talking about having just a live stream on each of our studio walls, just constantly running, so we can kind of mimic the feel of being in the same room and sharing the studios.
That's incredible. I love the passion that I can see really come across, and the pure joy you guys have in this project and the creation of it. And it also makes me very enthusiastic on not only this drop, but also what could be next, because it sounds like this is something that you guys will carry with you for quite some time. I know certainly whoever gets these pieces will treasure them for quite some time as well. So thank you guys so much. I'm hyped up after watching this. I'm ready to experience some adventure myself in whatever way I can participate. I'm sure everyone watching is interested too. Again, we'll drop your links once again on our socials and within the Discord. And best of luck in the drop tonight. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having us. It's a pleasure.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you for listening and watching to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone in chat.
Have a good one, guys.
Bye.